Welcome back, everyone. Sources over here fanning himself. All right, guys. Welcome back. I love production value. I know what I'm doing. I'm good at this. My name is Lauren. I'm joined by the professor himself, the source. That's a really cool video. I was sitting there watching it too. I was just like, all right. You know, Temple Storm definitely stands out as one of those organizations where, it does seem like it's a family. It seems like everyone's really happy to be a part of that organization. They all go the extra mile, not only for their respective communities, but for each other. So it's really cool to hear some of the insight from people outside of just the Heroes of the Storm scene, because that's the only way I really know them. I'm not too familiar with the Hearthstone scene. I'm not really in the fighting game community, not in FGC like that. So I don't know. It was just cool to see how the legendary organization that it is came to be. So it's cool.
Yeah.
But we do have next game lined up. We are in the lobby right meow. It's going to be 7th Empire going up against the East Coast Revolvers. We are once again on Battlefield of Eternity. East Coast Revolvers.
It's a very fast day.
Yeah. They know how to play BOE, so see how that shakes out. Got everybody on the right side. Now, I would point out, there's a player on 7th Empire named Dreadnought with an O. It is not the HGC caster, Wade Pinfold, that we all know. It's another Dreadnought out there. It's not even spelled the same way. Dreadnought the caster is spelled with an A. This Dreadnought spelled with an O.
I mean, we had the second Brosidon who became dubbed Fosidon.
Fosidon.
So we've got the second Dreadnought. It's basically not Dread.
Not Dread. I like it. Actually, earlier today, TBK Zord was doing viewer games with J-How, and they ran into another Haloran.
Wait.
Right. Another Haloran was out there, and apparently they stomped them out. I said, I'm the best Haloran in A.
They got stomped. That ain't me.
Right. That ain't me. Please. But yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting to see there's another. I mean, I feel like Haloran's a very specific name. So
that's a rare one.
I couldn't imagine, like, I just queue up for a game and there's another Haloran in there. Like, that'd be wild. But we're going to get into the second game of the night. Battlefield of Eternity once again. Over on the left side, 7th Empire. Over on the right, the East Coast Revolvers. Let's see. Guess we're just waiting for everyone's potatoes. All right, here we go. So 7th Empire wastes 0 time taking Greymane off the board. I get it.
Answer back is Vala. Not strictly high tier meta, but these picks make sense for the map, so. I have no complaints as of yet.
Neither do I. Anub'arak is going to be the first pick, a very strong warrior these days for a number of reasons, even past the recent nerf, where the Nerubian armor got its increase from 8 to 12. His ability to engage and really set up opportunities for his backline to get kills is just hard to ignore. I get the reasoning. Alarak again comes out to play. 7th Empire might want to watch out, because the Alarak play was pretty crazy.
Yeah, the Cassia makes a lot more sense for the map. I like the Anub'arak because it deters them taking something like a Li Ming as their mage for the race, and it basically tells them not to really take a mage. I think they're fine with that with the Alarak. If they were to go double tank or double support off this, they do more than enough damage and have plenty of sustain. Answer back with Greymane off the board, Novala. There's like still a few race options. I would honestly say that Lunara would be good. I'd like to take Lunara under the circumstances just because she does reasonably well into Cassia because your poison gets around the rest of what she does. And Bambi might be good enough to be able to stay away from Alarak. Granted, if Alarak catches her, you're in trouble, but okay, they'll take Li Ming for themselves since they have the Anub'arak and then Uther. I don't hate the Uther, but I think that taking away the Ariel might have actually been better.
I agree. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, you know, if you have an Ariel player, you might want to take Ariel and just have that not only serve as a soft ban and denial, but very strong setup yourself. Li Ming does bring a good amount of poke for a map like Battlefield of Eternity. It will be interesting to see what kind of value she's able to have against the displacement of Alarak. Normally, I'm not too much a fan of Uther so early on against a comp that hasn't shown itself to have a lot of stuns and roots to get value out of the level 7 talent. But there's something to be said for burst healing, because Alarak will be looking to hit like an absolute freight train.
Like the mouth ban. But at the same time, I expect them to possibly take Ariel. She makes the most sense with the Cassia, and they're a fairly good combo right now. Varian Lucio, okay.
Spicy.
I mean, I don't dislike Lucio. He's just kind of fallen out of favor. So, I mean, this gives them the ability to let Alarak kind of get in the back line much faster, just through the move speed. So, I can see the value there.
I would agree with that. I mean, Li Ming, you know, she's a burst damage hero, but as long as Varian's able to position forward enough, he might be able to absorb a good amount of the damage to where you don't necessarily need burst healing. So, Lucio, well-timed sound barrier. That is the old rallying cry. Like, all right, go in there and get some takedowns because we all got a shield and have a pretty good time. Falstad and Thrall to round it out. Surprising.
Yeah, we don't really see Thrall anymore. I guess he's going to be there solo. I will be very happy if Varian doesn't go taunt. For the love of God, don't go taunt. In a situation like this where they've gone solo warrior, being able to go Colossus Smash along with Alarak damage. Alarak pulls them in, silences them, and then you Colossus Smash, like that target's dead. Doesn't matter what it is, a Nubarak, Uther, or Thrall, and I mean, Li Ming and Falstad will pop pretty much instantly. I think the Thrall, depends on what the Thrall goes. If Thrall goes Sunder, it's been a long time since we've seen what Sunder could do. I don't know how Cassia will handle that, or Lucio.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to see the Johanna pick to an extent. Yeah, it can work in, and I'm with you. If I'm taking Johanna and Varian, I'm 100%.
I mean, you could even take
Smash.
Twin Blade Varian. Like, go race. You can legitimately take Twin Blade Varian, and they've got. I mean, you've got Lucio for consistent damage. If Lucio's constantly healing him while he's Twin Blading, like, he might not die ever.
We might see some spiciness out of this combo. We'll see at level 10.
Probably not, though. Like, nobody ever goes to fun talents.
We'll find out. First up on the left, it's going to be 7th Empire Dreadnought, not the caster. It's on Falstad, Grandman's on Thrall, Brunio's playing a Nubarak, QB's on Uther, and Pumpkin Slayer. Okay, it's playing Li Ming.
And over on the other side, we've got East Coast Revolvers. We've got Armis on the Cassia, Rosenhell on the Johanna, Akuma on the Varian, Unknown Soul on the Alarak, and Army of One on the Lucio.
All right, a lot of the principal elements of the composition, the Revolvers had a good amount of value of last game, make their appearance here yet again. We saw their ability to set up a good amount of engage with Alarak and Johanna. You add Varian into the equation, definitely look to do some work. Pumpkin Slayer's positioning is going to be very important against this kind of displacement and lockdown. Roses in him, manages to avoid the orb. Now, one thing to consider, the Revolvers are dealing with a lot more wave clear than they went around the last time, so it's going to be up to them to really get the upper hand.
Yeah, the fact that Falstad is just sitting up there and Alarak hasn't checked the... Like, I would have lightning checked the bush a little while ago, but it seemed as if he knew he was there and was willing to just let him sit there the entire time. So, for now, they've been able to avoid getting ganks, which is, I think, what they were looking for, like, full root combo and let Dreadnought just kind of go to town. Good
amount of siege damage gets put on the tower up in the top lane. Alarak surprisingly has been holding his own. You're looking at Thrall and Falstad, that could be a good amount of lockdown, but I imagine telekinesis allows him to be pretty crafty. And if anything, it just says to his teammates, like, hey man, use the numbers advantage, I'm not going to get taken down here. But in spite of that, Rosenhell gets a good amount of damage put on them. Falstad flies in. Iron Skin's going to help Johanna get it out of there, along with the boot from Lucio. No takedowns.
All right, so race advantage for East Coast Revolvers. They're able to set up positioning early, get a little bit of extra damage in. Now Alarak will join the party. I don't know. I think that they go for kills more than they go for damage than anything.
I think that would definitely put them in a pretty solid spot. We see Aramis low on health. The root goes in on Akuma, who's going to be able to back away. The barrel roll. Falstad's able to escape. Akuma could be the first takedown of the game. Or no, it's actually going to be Falstad. The long-range damage from Lucio, of all people, enough to get the first takedown.
Yeah, the heavy commitment to bring down the Cassia. Unless you have the burst damage for her, it's just not going to happen. And ooh, timing on those stuns could have been beautiful. And ooh, goodbye Uther.
Uther gets silenced long enough to get turned into a ghost. Akuma's like, wait, I don't have shield wall yet, because he went in there and almost got taken down. But the mortal damage is going to be there for a halftime show in favor of the Revolvers, who are for the moment enjoying the level 4 talent advantage. This should be their first immortal.
Yeah, and they'll have plenty of ability to race. Joe will be able to get some blinds and some disruption. It won't be a massive immortal, but it'll still be pretty good.
Yeah, they're definitely going up against a higher caliber team, so to speak. As far as composition goes, even in spite of having such a sizable lead, there's really only about 20% on this immortal. So the team fight's going to have to be won decisively by either team, I feel. They're going to get too much in terms of siege damage. Last time the Revolvers got a whole fort. I don't think they're going to be so lucky this time.
No, they will likely get walled. Maybe they get the fort. If they find the cheeky takedown in the middle of this, they might be able to make it happen. They're willing to body some of the damage and protect the immortal since they have Lucio, so the healing will be pretty good. They didn't bring Alarak, so I don't see them getting the fort, because you pretty much need that combo to make that work. And like, charging onto an Anubarak, not going to get that much value. They will get the well, that's for sure.
That's a lot of sustain out the window and something of a victory in and of itself for sure. Immortal does get burned down. A good amount of health left yet on that top fort. So far, 7th Empire holding their own. One thing that we saw is Dreadnought, again, not the caster. It's able to fly around and really add pressure on different portions of the map. And I think that's going to be key to the success of 7th Empire. Surprise the members of the Revolvers with a flank, some positioning that they did not see coming, get takedowns, get ahead.
Ooh, that's a good charge in. I don't know. As a Cassia, I think when you charge in has to be pretty key. Like, when they played at bottom, that was perfect. Waited until there was nobody who could get in range, and the Dreadnought had already used all mobility to already try and get out of there. And just, you know, the continuous movement of the Cassia, you see how much damage they're trying to put into her, and Dreadnought keeps looking for it, but they're never going to find it.
The positioning, I mean, it almost got him a takedown of sorts. QB wants to be pretty concerned himself. He is able to get out of there, but the forward positioning of the support could be a dicey prospect, especially once Alarak shows up. I agree with you. I feel like Cassie needs to be a bit more conservative with the lunge forward and commitment, but once they fight as a full-person unit, you could definitely see Alarak make her life a lot easier.
Yeah, I would be worried if I were Falstad about getting baited into aggressive barrel rolls. Same with Thrall. Like, Thrall will go in and look for plays. If they manage to dodge out what I assume is going to be a Sunder, it's going to be bad because Cassia's return damage is super, super high with really, you know, Fen does a lot of damage.
It really does. I mean, you're at like 20% or so and you think you're about to get away. Surprise, you end up getting taken down.
And she took Impale, so 50% increased damage when the target's below 50% health.
That is going to sting, and with a burst healer that has long cooldowns like Uther, Cassian definitely could find some opportunities to shine. The second immortal phase is here. Unknown Soul eats a good amount of damage. Shield wall is going to allow Akuma to step forward. There's the burrow, gets the knockup on Unknown Soul, is able to back out of there. The orb just barely misses. The poke damage is absolutely real from 7th Empire.
So, Falstad's still soaking with 5 here, so that's actually good value for, well, I'm trying to think of whether or not they had an opportunity to find a takedown, and I think if Falstad had been there, they might have got Nakama, but, you know, getting the wave clear is always worth it.
Well, they stopped the Bruiser Camp from getting that top fort for free, but the bottom Bruiser Camp should get a good amount of value and actually inspires a rotation. Alarak goes down there to clear that out. And if I'm on the side of 7th Empire, this is the absolute green light. I see Alarak show. They move in to get the orb. To see the aggressive fly from Dreadnought, almost gets the takedown on Cassia before they're able to get back to base. Akuma use their shield wall to get out of there. Johanna is able to escape as well. So even without their Alarak for engagement, they're able to escape.
All 3 defensive talents, I do think it's going to be Taunt. Sad as it makes me, but they are going to be able to get a lot of damage here for East Coast Revolvers. 7th Empire was able to retaliate slightly, but for the moment, I still, even with them having a mortal advantage, I still think I like the position for East Coast Revolvers more, because we saw how much damage they had to put into Cassia to almost not kill her again.
I'm going to have to side with you. I mean, we saw them do very well on this exact map last go-round. They have a lot of the same composition this time, so why not have that consistency? They are on the short end as far as the Immortal goes, but can't really be too upset, I suppose, all considered.
They can make a lot of that up pretty quickly. They can send 4 to deal with it while Cassia continues to do damage, and she's, as long as she doesn't get rooted, it's going to be very difficult to instantly lock her down. Like, Anubarak's going to have to land the initial combo, and they've managed to pull back some of the experience. They are starting to fall behind now that Falstad is getting real value on the soak, and a lot of damage on the Dreadnought.
He could be in a tough spot. He's able to barrel roll away. Pumpkin Slayer has been able to put the screws to the Immortal, and the Condemn is going to be there. Rosenhill waves goodbye to the Falstad, and it's the 3rd takedown for the Revolvers. The Telekinesis yanks back Brunio, but he is able to walk out of there. You got to worry about the Immortal Punishers, so they're not going to chase. And with Heroics not too far for 7th Empire, they let the bug go.
Yeah, so not a huge loss for 7th Empire, but I would be scared for them moving in under this tower, even with the Immortal. They don't have a lot of big impact ultimates now that they've taken Earthquake and Guts. Like, those are valuable, but they don't do massive damage. They don't set up massive kills. They do have the Divine Storm. That Earthquake Divine Storm combo could be what they need, but you're looking at doing a lot of damage into Soundbarrier, and they've actually gone with Valkyrie.
I like seeing that. A well-timed Valkyrie is very entertaining to watch. Puts a smile on my face for sure. I'm actually a little surprised to see Earthquake. I feel like if you take Divine Storm, you throw Sundering on top of that, that's a whole lot of lockdown, a long time for someone not to be able to press buttons. But for their trouble, a lot of respect shown for the Heroics, and I get that on the side of the Revolvers, but that's going to be too close. Uh-oh.
First time I've gotten to see it. Please, for the love. Actually, no, I saw it once during Dorm. Only once. And it only got 2 kills worth of effectiveness because they were already like a billion years ahead in value. But it is Colossus Smash.
It could be real. I mean, even with all the shield talents, that actually, in my opinion, enables the Colossus Smash quite a bit. Because he jumps in, people try to turn on him, and then he's able to sustain himself, absorbs a good amount of damage for his team. And the backline takes somebody apart.
Just perfect Blessed Shield combo. Blessed Shield into Colossus Smash. Like, goodbye Li Ming. Goodbye anything that isn't a Nubarak, and probably goodbye a Nubarak, too.
Yeah, I definitely
just need to not get out macroed. I want to see it work. But at the same time, it is a Falstad. You're behind on Battlefield of Eternity. He's going to get way more value as the game goes on. And it's kind of it's the hybrid Falstad build, so his damage isn't going to spike that much, but he's going to be able to outwave clear you pretty much all game.
He's going to be a nuisance, and Dreadnought's ability to fly around's definitely gotten him some value. Hasn't gotten him a takedown just yet, but with a few more tools in the old arsenal, could see that. Pumpkin Slayer is going to pause the game. Apparently there's something going on there, so we'll bring you back to the fronts of our faces. Now, we saw the East Coast Revolvers put on a very dominant performance last game. And albeit, their play was solid, when you consider the composition that they went up against, I would submit to you that it wouldn't have taken too much to really excel. They're finding themselves going up against a very different beast in the form of 7th Empire, a team that we've seen a number of times before. We're already back in the game. So, I'm curious to see how East Coast Revolvers conducts themselves. They're going to conduct themselves by going across the map and look for some takedowns. Grindman almost gets burned. The Valkyrie yanks Falstad back for the remix, and the goose gets cooked.
Well, that's an aggressive invade. But yeah, again, part of why I would have loved to see the Sunder. Sunder would have ripped them apart. Sunder would have let them actually bring down the Cassia. Now, that was all of the cooldowns here, I think, are 60 seconds maximum. Longest one is Sound Barrier. So they have Colossus Mass Bless Shield, Valkyrie combo every 60 seconds. Granted, they can Colossus Mash more often than that. So they're just going to pull that out every single time the 7th Empire gets too close.
Well, they're trying to get close right now. And they get the stun on Varian, who slides home. The Ragdoll gets go for launched. We see a good amount of damage on the Immortal one way or the other. 13, not too far for 7th Empire. I was wondering how the Revolvers would respond to falling behind in structure damage. They respond by going across the map and looking to rip off faces, but 7th Empire respawn, gets their Falstad back. And they show they know how to team fight too.
Yeah, that was a good way to just open back up with some solid damage and to do it without having heroics. Now Cassia's in a little bit of trouble, but she got Lucio. Boot people away. And I don't know if you necessarily want to be there, because Akuma was on his way back.
Dreadnought almost got the rope-a-dope with the flank on Aramis. See, Cassie is able to walk out of there, and if anything, that poke damage will allow them to get actually ahead in the Immortal race. The Mighty Gust, but we see the Valkyrie bring him back. Dreadnought is able to escape, and a Divine Shield claps on Cassia's face for the first takedown of this next progression. We see the Condemn go in, Rosenhell applying the chase, the slow goes in, Uther gets turned into a ghost. 2 takedowns, 1 apiece. Action all around.
Alright, well, a lot of that was on the web wrap. I think that really set them up, because otherwise, Dreadnought goes down because less people are bodied. Akuma is there to do damage and to peel off some of that CC coming out from Anubarak and Bruno. Or would that be Bruno? Brunio? And so that lack of damage coming out from Akuma, like, one web wrap really secured that from being pretty much a disaster. And now 7th Empire's kind of turned this game back.
They have, something to consider here is that throughout that entire thing, the Revolvers didn't have their level 13 talent, and they were going toe-to-toe with 7th Empire. At the end of the day, though, the Immortal is going to get picked up with a little bit of shields left on it. 2 forts down, so this bad boy is going to be looking to rock and roll on his bottom keep wall. And level 13 is going to get picked up by the Revolver, so they will have everything at the ready to defend. But their back is starting to get against the wall.
Yeah, they're going to need to find some more instant combos. Alarak pulling a Colossus Smash is pretty much their key to victory, so look for Unknown Soul to find the combo, and just decides to poke the bug with a stick. He tried to roll the bug over onto his back. Didn't really work.
Not necessarily. The bottom keep wall gets melted down almost instantaneously, and I do believe if they press the issue enough, they could come away with this bottom fort. The Immortal does the job right before he gets taken down, catapults in the bottom lane for the rest of the game. The chase is on before level 16 comes around. Brunio helps with the disengage, gets the Q, gets the burrow. Sound Barrier drops, the base goes in, the Earthquake goes down, Divine Storm, a Nubrak, the bug does get turned over. We see Falstad fly and get the Mighty Gust, but it's a hair late for Uther. He's a ghost again.
But would you rather trade 2 takedowns for 2 keeps, or 2 keeps for 2 takedowns? I think that at the end of the day, 7th Empire came out well ahead of that, and they don't mind losing 2 members there. Now, game, 2 keeps down opens up the win condition, but got to be careful of getting picked.
Now, I am source equal parts thinking emoji and PogChamp, because I was thinking about your question. And then I realized I didn't even know Dreadnought was up there getting that top keep like that. I looked over at the minute.
I was watching it the whole time. Dreadnought's off having a good day.
I looked over at the minimap. I'm like, wait, why don't I see a top keep up there? And Dreadnought was like, I know why.
Yeah, it's like, I guess you'll let me do this for free, because there isn't a lot of members on their team who can really go straight Anson Falstad other than the Cassia. And it just becomes a matter of Cassia runs and chases and is slowly slower than the Falstad, then has to fend and chase him. That's not going to happen. Varian can full to zero him, but it's difficult. It means he has to predict the Lion's Maw throw to be able to get the additional slow. So it's jump and then predict the Lion's Maw to get the slow that you need to be able to follow, because the moment you use your charge, you're out of mobility abilities and he's gone. So like there just wasn't an answer. There wasn't anybody who could go up and deal with him.
Well, the only thing going are both of the keeps for the Revolvers. Ahead in the race again are the members of the 7th Empire, who had their level 16 advantage. And running out of time, I mean, the Revolvers are going to have to take an unfavorable fight. They've got to get something going off of this.
I mean, you just fight now. You find a pick. You hard engage whatever you can get your hands on.
They have Valkyrie available to them. The Blessed Shield is going to whiff. Sound Barrier goes down right as the Mighty Gust negates that heroic and survivability option for and East Coast Revolvers, who find themselves in a pretty rough go of things.
They can still kind of engage. There's still potential. That's a good opening. If somebody's there instantly to follow up on Dreadnought, adds a dead Falstad, and you open up the floodgates. Now you've got Caddy's Encore.
Yeah, so they're all going to be on a timer. Aramis low on health, gets the sustain from Lucio. A new Brat gets silenced. Can you burrow out in time to telekinesis? Says a thing or two, but Cassia, along with Lucio, make that 4 heroes an entire ace, and with your shield already gone, that is 1 G, followed swiftly by another G.
Yeah. And I was hating on the Earthquake, but it seemed to give them positional advantage. They were able to just keep targets there. Granted, they started getting further and further ahead, and just auto attack talents, Cannoneer, Acid Drench Mandibles, Double Giant Killer. They got to a point where they could pretty much burn through anything, and the variant was too far behind to actually land Colossal Smash combos.
Tell you one thing, man. Throne needs a DJ skin, because Lucio was like, oh, let's break it down. LOL, sound barrier, guys. Throw was like, no. I'm dropping the bass. Like, that Earthquake was the definition of, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
So,
because nobody was getting
Lucio's got his Dead Mouse montage. I'd have to think of which EDM DJ Thrall represents us. Do we give Thrall a Skrillex skin? Bass everywhere.
Dude, I think the haircut would be tribal enough. We could pull it off. I'm telling you, man, it was just because I didn't really get the whole Earthquake heroic selection, because, we're talking about it, Sundering in a Divine Storm. That's a lot of lockdown. And you're going up against a Lucio who can increase the speed of his entire team against a heroic that's meant to slow people down. So it's like, are you really getting the value that you wanted out of a heroic like that? That last team fight single-handedly put a firm yes as a response for all that. 7th Empire, looking pretty good.
Yeah, easy advantage gained off of the Falstad. I think that gave them a lot of free control.
I've seen Falstad show up more and more on Battlefield of Eternity, and like, the first-hand impression is like, all right, that's kind of a weird pick, but Falstad was played to near perfection on that map. Like, he was just soaking the lanes. I'm looking back at the experience now. He had 13,000 experience, more than anybody else by a considerable margin, even considering against the solo laner Alarak on the other side. Stealing that top keep during that bottom push. I mean, that was the ultimate set of jazz hands. It's like, all right, we got to defend our bottom keep, guys. This is it. The Immortals coming here. If we drop heroes, we got to be careful. They're going to get 16 soon. Oh, wait. Where's our keep? Where's our keep in the top lane? Like, what just happened?
Yeah, and being able to make that decision. I mean, yeah, you could have sent Varian to go deal with it, and if he just all-ins Falstad and forces him back, at least it relieves some of the pressure. But the moment you do that, you have to be worried about straight engage from the rest of the team. So, was a challenge.
The Cassia play also, she did a sizable amount of damage, 34,000, but when you compare that to Li Ming's 67, there might be something to be desired out of all that. Without blinds and the other composition really enable the Cassia, and you're kind of walking into the lion's den. Cassia has a short attack range. She steps forward. She gets burrowed. She gets rooted by Thrall. Gets stunned by Uther. It's just like Aramis probably felt more often than not like, when do I really engage here? Because I gotta wait for a lot of cooldowns to get used. And even on top of that, Dreadnought was flying in, flanking her left, right, and center. So it was just like, I just feel like Seventh Empire did a really good job of neutralizing any forward momentum of that Cassie.
Yeah, other than that one really slick play they had where Cassia survived, they were just unable to let her do consistent damage. And even though Falstad wasn't actually connecting any of those takedowns, it actually added enough pressure that he got off the additional wave clear.
Yeah. I mean, and Aramis, the Cassia play was strong. Like, I just think it was a tough situation to really excel on that hero. Because those Valkyries, it was pretty solid. And I'm almost wondering if Taunt may have been the better heroic in that situation. Yeah, you get the exclamation point with the Colossus Smash, but whose damage are you really enabling that is burst centric? Like, Cassia does a lot of damage in the right situation, sure, but it's not like it was, Colossus Smash, Li Ming, or full dodgeball, you're dead. Like, it was just kind of like Discord Strike had to get a takedown, or else you're all just kind of standing there. So, I don't know.
I think the Discord Strike combo is good enough. I just think it's Battlefield of Eternity. So again, it's a comp I don't like on a map where there isn't a lot of time for you to spread out and let the cooldown reset. You're just kind of constantly fighting. You put that on something like, even Tomb of the Spider Queen is bigger and there's more waves to soak. Dragonshire, like, there's time.
I'm looking at some of the talents as well, because I'm just curious to the anatomy of what we just saw. So, Li Ming goes for a Q build, very strong against the Immortal. You saw her melting that bad boy down quite a bit.
Also went Cannoneer, so an even more Q build.
The added silence duration on Dissonance at level 7 for Alarak. Now, I feel like if that was the increased telekinesis range, Li Ming's life would have been a lot more difficult, because just like now you can more easily get to that back line outside of just Valkyrie. And if you use telekinesis and that forces out the teleport from Li Ming, then you throw a blessed shield in the back of her face and blow her up. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see how all that played out. But let's see. We've heard from our good old fashioned argue. The new guys game and the four guys game are both a few minutes in. Yeah, and Miasma's advanced. So we're gonna take a little bit of a break. See where else we're gonna go in the bracket tonight. Again, my name is Alluring, joined by the professor himself, the source.
That's me.
Oh, that's me. And we are going to